Islam presents itself very differently in the West than it does in the East. That practice comes directly from the way Muhammad presented himself at different times in his own life, either with the peace or with a sword. We'll explain what that means with you in this particular video series. Well, hello everyone. This is Fadi. I can say I am one of the infidels on social media, but I have the basically favorite infidel with me here today, our dear brother Adam Seeker. And we are going to start a brand new video series together in collaboration with each other. And I'm so excited about that. And we're going to call it Islam, East versus West. And really what we mean by that is that here is how Islam is portrayed or practiced or introduced in the East versus how it is portrayed or introduced to us in the West. And I would argue this doesn't only mean how Muslims portray it, but also how it's understood, whether in the East or in the West. Again, with us here to unpack all of this and have a dialogue during these episodes, our dear brother Adam Seeker. Adam, welcome. And we're so excited to have you.
Thank you, Al-Fadi, and hello everyone. This is your favorite Murtad, live once again with Al-Fadi here. We are going to talk about Islam East versus West. If you are my subscriber, you must have seen me doing a couple of live streams already on this topic. But today we are going to unpack it a little in detail because Al-Fadi also came from East. What do you think, Al-Fadi? Do you think there is any difference in the two?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think if my memory serves me right, I think Yasser Qadhi himself was talking about such a difference between Islam of the East versus Islam of the West. And of course, I grew up in the East. In fact, I grew up in what is considered to be the heartland of Islam. That's Saudi Arabia, near Mecca. And as you get closer to the epic center, you see that Islam gets stronger and stronger in terms of its views, its practice, and how others outside of that are viewed. Even if you are a Muslim, not practicing Islam well, you begin to see that there are different layers of, judgment, if you wish, or classification. And then when you come to the West, you begin to see even Islam completely different, presents itself different, and so on and so forth. The other day, I was watching this documentary, Adam, on 9/11. And there is a Muslim, young Muslim lady. And again, I have all respect to our Muslim friends. Of course, I'm not here, me or Adam, trying to mock anybody. Not at all. We want to invite you to our Lord and Savior. But when she was talking about September 11, to be honest with you, if I know nothing about Islam, I definitely would have been fascinated by how gentle and how convincing her argument was that those hijackers embarrassed her, because that's not really what Islam teaches. And sadly for her, that's exactly what Islam teaches, because the hijackers were the more faithful Muslims than what this young lady was trying to portray. So what about you, for instance, Adam, in Pakistan? Give me an idea. How is Islam practiced there?
You are absolutely right, my brother. You are absolutely right. And let's just connect it to Muhammad's time. Even in Muhammad's time, there was an Islam East and West, but it's called differently. It was called the Meccan Islam and the Medinan Islam. When we look at the 13 years of the life of Muhammad in Mecca after he received the revelation, that's the Islam that you will see in the West. What about East? East has the Islam which was in the Median period of Muhammad. So if we unpack these two, very easily we can do the comparison between the East and the West. And why is the difference between the two? Because the Muslims are in minorities. In Mecca, Muslims were in minority. In the West, Muslims are in minority. In Medina, Muslims got the majority. And in East, Muslims have the majority. Would you agree to a certain extent of this idea?
Well, absolutely. There is truth to that. No doubt about it. And of course, it kind of confirms what I typically say. I tell my Muslim friends or those who are at least propagating in the West that Islam really is not represented well by actions of ISIS or Al-Qaeda or the 9/11 hijackers or anything similar to that, I would say, you know what, simply just go to the East, spend some time in the Middle East, in Saudi, for instance, or in Egypt, go to Al Azhar and interact with sheikhs or teachers over there, and then come back and report to me how they view these actions versus how you assume that those actions might be representing. At the end of the day, they have not only just a majority in terms of number, but they have the loudest voice, the most respected voice. And in fact, those are the ones that usually obedient Muslims are going to listen to at the end of the day. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to listen to me. They're not going to listen to the professor at Harvard or this professor at MIT, I should say, or this professor at Cambridge or at Oxford. They are going to listen to the leaders. They will be willing to go along with you to avoid embarrassment and present the Islam of the West. But when it comes to practice, they know very well that Islam of the East is what is the orthodoxy of Islam altogether. Back to you, Adam.
Absolutely correct, brother. Absolutely correct. Let me give you the same example. When Osama bin Laden actually did the attack on the Twin Towers, you know how many Muslim friends of mine were praising Osama bin Laden? You have no idea. While I'm working in a multinational organization which works in multiple Western countries, not just one, multiple. And you know what happened? These people who are working for many Western organizations are proclaiming how good Osama bin Laden did. That was absolutely right to do that because these are infidels. May the curse of Allah be upon these infidels. May they have the cancer and they die of the cancer and so on and so forth, and just add a lot of stuff to it. But this is the reality of Islam. Have you ever listened to the duas, the prayers, the supplications after the prayer, the five compulsory prayers? You would be amazed. The first time
Exactly.
I heard a Christian prayer, I was like, seriously, this is how you pray? What about the curse to those who actually are hating you and all that stuff? You don't see that because the Bible says pray for the ones who persecute you. But what does the Quran says? It
Right.
proclaim hatred for everyone other than Islam, and I can prove you, especially Jews, brother. But if you let's go forward a little bit more
Mhm.
to our study. Otherwise, we will spend hours here. Meccan Islam. Islam cannot spread by peace. Because if Islam could be spreaded by peace, in 13 years of Muhammad in Mecca, less than 100 people would not have accepted Islam.
That's true.
13 years, less than 100, no sword. It was like, don't even defend. But brother, let's do a sharp comparison with the Christian teaching. Jesus said the one who one who lives by the sword dies by the sword. Like, imagine Christianity grew under persecution, under when they were nothing, they were nobody. In one single sermon, Acts of Apostle, first sermon, over 5,000 people accepted Christ.
That's right. And I'm glad you brought this up. Just the first few chapters of the book of Acts, we have thousands already following Jesus without a single blood drop. A single one. It was the blood of Jesus that saved them, not the blood of innocent people or martyrs, technically speaking.
Amen to that. But look what happened in the Madian Islam. Madian Islam was less than 9 years. In less than 9 years, when Muhammad attacked Mecca,
And you're talking about Medina here, just for the sake of
Medina,
clarifying to people. He's
exactly.
talking about the Mecca Islam, 13 years, according to the standard Islamic narrative. Now we're shifting to the Medina Islam, which is after the Hijrah, for the remainder of Muhammad's time, which is 10 years.
Absolutely. So in less than 9 years, when Muhammad from Medina attacked Mecca to take over Mecca again,
Mm-hmm.
he had over 10,000 Muslim followers. What is the only difference between the Meccan and the Madian Islam? The only difference is the sword.
That's right.
As soon
Exactly.
as you came into Medina, right within the first year, the verses of sword, defense and offense started to happen. Look at Quran by revelation. The first surah after Hijri is chapter number 2, Surah Al-Baqarah.
That's right.
That is where you will get the fighting verses.
You begin to see that, of course, if you look at Mecca, obviously, and if you do a study on the doctrine of jihad, and I call it a doctrine, the doctrine of jihad, basically, you will begin to see initially it was mainly warning messages, warning. In fact, I wrote an article, by the way, in Answering Islam to prove even the warning messages have the threat of killing and the sword embedded into them. But because of the fact that Muhammad did not have enough resources, he knew he won't be able to fulfill his future dream if he were to have that power. And it was really unleashed when he went to Medina because of the number of followers, and then later those who were forced to convert, and of course the taken properties and making wealth out of that as well by force. It wasn't taken just peacefully, although I say it was taken peacefully by the sword, but it still generated a lot of income. And that's when we see now more powerful, basically, verses that demand now not only fighting for self-defense, but also attacking. And it ended with stage 4 of jihad, of unlimited, unrelenting, basically, attacks until the name of Allah is supreme, Islam is dominant, and that won't happen, by the way, until Islam reigns. And I like, by the way, Amjad Chaudhry. Yeah, I like the guy. The guy is honest. I mean, he had an interview, allegedly, I want to say, because I just want to make sure people don't think I'm fabricating things, but you can go and investigate it, with Sean Hannity from Fox News. And Sean Hannity asked him, how can Islam be a religion of peace if this is happening? And Chaudhry responded back to him and says, yeah, I agree with you. Islam is not a religion of peace until everything is under its control, and then it will become peaceful. So he was very honest to say, we're not going to be fulfilling our, mandate of peace until we conquer everything, which means we'll be fighting, we'll be doing whatever it takes until all the territories, the earth belongs to Allah, and therefore once it is conquered and under the Islamic banner, only then it will be peaceful.
Very well said, brother. But let me just add certain things to it. Even when every single person in the world is a Muslim, they will still have jihad, because Quran chapter number 9, Surah Tawbah, which is in essence the last surah of the Quran, verse number 73 says to Muhammad, O Prophet, fight against the disbelievers and the hypocrites, the munafiqeen. The munafiqeens are actually the Muslims.
Exactly.
There is so many verses in the Quran which talks about munafiq. Munafiq even offer prayers. Munafiq even do zakat. Munafiq even fast. But what is the definition of munafiq? Chapter number 3, verse number 161, it says that the munafiq is the one who does not go for the offensive jihad, neither does he actually go for the defensive jihad. So, in essence, if you look at it, who is a true believer?
That's right.
That's a very, very good question. I think maybe we can put it for the next episode. We are already about time.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. And this will be a good, basically, teaser and prompter for next time, because ISIS, their banner was the prophetic way. What does that mean? The way of the prophet. In other words, we don't care what kind of Muslim you are unless you follow the way of the prophet, which is our way of implementing Islam and its interpretation, including fighting even other so-called nominal Muslims. You're not a Muslim at all. And that's why most of the people who were basically displaced from Syria and became refugees, I tell people this, don't tell me Christians were persecuted by ISIS. No, I'm sorry. Maybe a minority of Christians, but the majority of these refugees were no other than Muslims from Syria. Now explain that to me. How can Islam be a religion of peace if its own people and followers are not safe from this alleged peaceful teaching? Until next time, hopefully everybody will be joining us and enjoying the continuation of this discussion. This is Fadi, along with Adam Seeker. Over and out. God bless. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And ring the bell so you will be notified when we release new content. Our mission is to reach Muslims with the gospel of Jesus Christ and help Christians engage with their Muslim neighbors. If you want to join us in this life-changing work, please support us on patreon.com/CIRA International, or just click on the link below.